Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ebony and I make videos about my small candles and more business. Today's video is going to be about making freshies, which are just like car hanging air fresheners, or even if you don't hang them, I know some of my customers like to keep the smell proof pouch that they come in, and they'll just keep it open in the car, just because with extreme heat, these are plastic beads with fragrance oil and coloring. So with extreme heat, they can melt off because these are plastic, and plastic does melt in heat. Okay. So with that being said, let's get to it. So what you'll need for this to make the freshies, you need some type of like airtight glass container, because your fragrance oil is going to be going in there with the aroma beads. So you need something. Mason jars is what I normally see people using, and they do work great. I like to use the mason jars too. Sometimes I will use just like my glass candle jars, and tighten the lids too. If like my mason jars are all filled up already, I will just pull out my glass candle jars, because it's glass lid, same airtight. But I have found that even if it is a small amount like I'm going to be doing today, even if it is a small amount, the more room you have, I don't know. It could just be the fragrance oil, honestly, but to me, it seems like the more room it has to be shaken up and everything, or whatever, I'm not sure, but it seems like it does cure faster this way. But I also was doing like mica powder. I'll get into that, but I was doing mica powder in with the fragrance oil at the same time and letting it cure from there. And to be honest, that might be why it was taking such a long time. Because once I stopped doing that, I also continued to keep putting them in here versus my candle jars, and that's when I noticed they did start to cure faster. So maybe it was the mica powder, I'm not sure. But anyways, back on task. So you will need some type of glass airtight container. Mason jars do work wonders. Of course, you'll need your fragrance oil for whatever you're gonna be using. You need aroma beads, which are just plastic little beads. They get everywhere too, but just little plastic beads. If you don't know what those are, just little plastic beads. Some type of mold or cutter, whatever. Cookie cutters are what I like to use. They do make actual silicone molds as well, and I mean that you would probably get for like making a cake or muffins, whatever the case. But yeah, you can use those, just a silicone mold. And then if you are going to color it, some mica powder. This is just my bag of mica powders, which, like I said, I do these at the very end. Like once this is cured, then I'll put the mica powder in, give it a shake, and go about that way. So this won't be until the very end, but just wanted to show. Of course, your scale and your measurements. But yeah, so I'm gonna get into it. So I'm making an order for one of the reps. Well, not reps, but one of the drivers from one of the venues that we use. He wanted to buy something from me. I've known him for a long time, just from work, like just from him coming and delivering things from the different jobs I've had. He's been the driver at my job before and this job, so I just thought that was cool to see him again. So we're going to go with the aroma beads first. And most of the molds I have go for about 1.5 ounces. I do ounces and millimeters for things, but my go-to measurement is normally in ounces. And then tear it out as soon as, and paper towels. And you can use gloves, you know, if you want to feel, you know, whatever your preference is. I feel like I don't need gloves for this stage, but whatever's clever. And then all you're gonna do, once you get that part, because that's legit it, put this on, make sure you tighten it, and then give it a shake. Just mix it real good. Make sure they all get covered. And yeah, that's it. At the very end, you'll see, I'll show you what they're supposed to look like once you know, like how you know they're done. But you see how it's like oily and they're sticky. It won't be like that. Like it'll be loose and dry inside, and that's how you know they're done. But I will show you. And then repeat. And then sometimes, like I'll show you, you'll be able to tell. Like you won't need, not tell, but, well, you will be able to tell, but you don't have to use color sometimes. I mean, you don't have to put color at all, but some fragrance oils are darker than others. So you want to make sure you pay attention to that. Like if you're trying to make one look exactly like this, like just straight clear white frosty, then you want to stick away from certain types of fragrance oils because they do have a color to them, and that color is how they're going to turn out. Like once this soaks up, they're not going to turn back out like this. They will look like this, and it's just like a little tint to it, but you can definitely tell, you know. So and it doesn't really matter at what way you put, like if you go fragrance oil or if you go aroma beads first. But keep in mind that if you do fragrance oil and then aroma beads, if you over pour, you can't pour them back. You can't put them back. I mean, you can, that's up to you. I wouldn't recommend it because then you're going to get that smell, whatever it is, into here. And those beads that it did touch will cure with that, but it'll also the beads will still get some of the aroma. Even though it's not touching it, it'll still pick up some of that smell. So I would recommend doing the beads before you do fragrance oil, but you know, it's whatever, it's clever. See, just like that. And I swear I was not doing that on purpose. Make sure my hands don't smell. And the way I have this is kind of a pain. I'll put that back later. How small I have that hole. It's a pain. Ooh, this one's really dark. Yeah. Yep, I did make it. Oh yeah, that's dark. Here's another good example. This one's dark too. Which this one is cinnamon and vanilla, and then this one is a like a hot apple pie concoction. It's blended fragrance oils, but this one's even darker, a little darker than this one. So what you're also going to want to do is over time, every time, like anytime you think about the jars, you come across the jars, you want to give them a good shake. Giving them a good shake is because the fragrance oil is going to pool on the bottom, so it's going to be hard for it to soak up from the ones that are sitting on top if it's just like sitting there. It's going to take a lot longer for it to cure because it's got to blend. So you want to shake them as often as you can whenever you think about them. I mean, you don't have to like shake them every minute of the day, but you know, as often as you can. Like before I go to bed tonight, I'm going to give them another shake. When I wake up in the morning, give them a shake. Throughout the day before I go to work, I'll give them a shake. And then before I go to work, I'll give them a shake. When I get home, give them a shake. Before I go to bed, throughout before I go to bed and everything, I'll give them a shake. When I go to bed, I'll give them a shake, you know, and then rinse and repeat the next day until they're fully cured. I have found that some fragrance oils take longer than others to cure. I'm not sure why, but some take longer than others to cure. I've had some take 4 days to where I was like, oh man, I must have put too much oil to beads or something. Like, what's happening? Why is it taking so long? But I also, like, I have a mango and coconut that I did. That took 1 day. This is the next morning. You see how you can tell the difference already? This one was actually a little stickier earlier this morning than it is right now. But you see, you can tell the difference already. They're starting to loosen up. It's basically done. It'll be done tonight by the time I get home. And I know that some people try to do, or not try, but some people to like rush the process will put like a heating pad, wrap them in a heating pad and stuff like that. The reason I'm saying this is because these are like right next to the vent, and it's wintertime in North Carolina, so I do have the heat on right now. It's like the low right now is like 40 right now, so that could have something to do with it because the heat is thumping right here, but I don't know. But yeah. Okay, so this is how you know they're done. You see, it's all dry, they're loose, they're not sticking. They're not sticking to each other. They're not sticking to the jar. I mean, you can just visually tell that there's no moisture left in there. So it's time for the next step. Okay, so this is the mold I'm going to be doing. This one is for me, but it's just like a snowflake, I guess. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the snowflake is from my Christmas mold ones. And then I have like this little tube that I got from off of one of the sticker labels that I have or something, because it's thick enough to hold. And well, I mean, I'll be picking it up anyways, but yeah, so this is that. So I'm gonna just kind of center it as best possible. And then I'm gonna take some leftover beads I had from one thing and just pour it in to the middle. I am doing this one-handed because my thing that I have just doesn't, the angle doesn't get right. So that's that. Let's pick up the excesses that fell inside. I'll show you how I colored them in a few minutes, or in a few seconds, I guess, because it'll be seconds for you. And then just like that. Okay, so you see how they are, first off, completely dry, not sticking to the jar, but they're also clear white, okay? So we're gonna color these with some mica powder. I think I'm gonna go with the yellow. Okay. So all you're gonna do is get that off. I have my little trusty little measuring spoon thing. It's double-sided, a little scoop, and then that. Mica powder does go a long way, but since the original or the middle part is like purplish, I do want this to kind of, stand out with the yellow. Just put, and you can always start with a little and then add more as you go. So it's in there. Bring the lid and shake. Let's see. I think that's good. I don't need to add any more. And then you're just gonna open it and pour it into your mold. And I'm just gonna pour it into my mold. The good thing about having something in the middle is that I don't necessarily have to pour around it, or, you know, I can move it, is my point of saying this, is I can move it if need be. Like, I don't have to worry about not getting any in there, kind of, sort of, because I can move it. I have a little bit more flexibility with having that middle piece in there, because I'm going to pick it up. Once I've gotten all this in, I'm going to pick it up. Try not to get my hands in the way. It's okay if you get some outside or even in the little piece. It's okay. I like to use tweezers to get them, to get it out from like that little middle piece. Little bitty pieces left. And that's it for that. So yeah, just little tweezers. Just pluck them out. And then I don't have as much of the bluish purple one as I thought. So we'll see what happens once I pick it up. Because essentially it was a leftover fragrance. Like, this is two different fragrances now, but they're gonna blend it well. But that purple one was left over from another project that I did. And this is gonna be for me, for my car anyways. So I like to utilize everything, you know, versus just discarding it. It's still good products, and I like my products. Otherwise, I wouldn't make my product. So it's just a good add-on for me, even if nobody wants it. Or sometimes I give them to friends too, like, you know, friends and family too. If I have little leftover things, or I'll give them as a free sample as well. That's another good way to utilize extra products from different projects. Just leftover products from different projects. It's a good way, is to give it away as a free sample. Okay, so this is it. And then I'm just gonna take it up. When I take it up, it is gonna fall a little bit, just because, like I said, the yellow is a lot higher than There is more yellow than there is the bluish purple, but that's cute. Let me see if I can buff that up, because you see it's a good bit, and once it melts down, that's just going to wind up melting in a little. So let me see if I can fix it a little. Okay, so this is what I ended up with after I pulled it to the top. Which you can see it's not the perfect circle as it was before, but I still like it this way. I'm good with rustic too. Now it's time to bake. I'm gonna bake these at 250. I'm gonna start off at 8 minutes and go up like every 2 minutes after that. So we're gonna look, and I can tell that it's not ready. We're gonna, oh God, yeah. That's definitely a sign that it's not ready, but you see how it kind of pulls out a little bit? That's what I was saying earlier about the molds not being that's okay. Let's see, we're pulling, but that is now done. Yeah, that's done. Yeah, that's done. Probably only needed like 1 more minute, but that's done now. All right, so there's multiple ways to do it as far as if you're doing a hanging air freshener. So you have roofing nails, kind of. Pretty sure that's what these are called, roofing nails, but they're just straight nails, but with a flat bottom. You want to make sure it has a flat bottom. Okay. It's kind of blurry, but I'm sure you can tell. There you go. Yeah, it has a flat bottom because you need it to be able to stand. Okay. And you can also, oh, well, the reason behind doing that is because if you put the hole in it, you'll be able to put this string through. You can use twine or like the elastic, stretchy rope, or whatever you want to use that you want to put into a hole to be able to hang it. Or also another way, instead of putting the hole inside, is using these little, I think they're called like ear screws. Eye pins. Some little eye pins. They're like extremely small. They're tiny. Let's see if I can get you to see it. But yeah, that little guy. Yep, and then once you pull it out the mold, you just screw it in wherever you want to screw it in. And then through the hole is where you'll put the twine or the elastic string or whatever you have. We are going to go this route with the ones today. So with this process, all I really need to do is get my molds where I want them and then just pour in. Into the oven we go. Alrighty. I learned to kind of pull them out a little early now because they're still gonna like cook slightly, like, so they're done. So another little trick you can kind of do to save time is to get in there with a spoon or something and push the edges down. It'll just save you later from cutting it off. Just for presentation purposes, you don't have to cut it off. Like, I don't cut it off when I do it for myself. but for customer orders, I do cut it off. But I'll show you. And you want to do this right when it comes out so it doesn't, because like I said, it's still cooking, so it's gonna melt some more. So if you do it right when it comes out, it won't look too janky. Like, I'm not gonna get these ones just because it's hard to get the spoon in the ones that look like especially this one. This one's not that bad. But they're plastic beads, so it'll push down really easy when it's still hot. Get in there with the spoon. I want to with this one. Yep. Okay. So to remove them, it's very easy. I know some people, you just push it out. I know some people like to spray the inside of the mold with like a little bit of cooking spray or something, and you know that helps for the release as well, but I haven't had any problems with not doing that and just pushing them out. But yeah. You see like the kind of the little spikiness. So it's not the prettiest thing, but it's not bad either. And by cutting this off, I am actually losing fragrance, just because that is beads as well. Like, that is fragrance beads as well. So like, even with this one, that when I pushed it down, you see how it still does have some. So sometimes I'll leave it and sometimes I don't. It's basically just my preference. But if you don't like the look, if you're going for a more cleaner look, just get some scissors and just cut it. But now we have our finished product. Okay. So we're gonna take our little baby screw for this way. Get your pliers, because we're going to be using the heat gun. Just clip them so that you see. Get the heat gun and just slightly heat it up. Doesn't need much. And then you're just gonna get it, go to wherever spot you want to go, push down, and then twist, because it is a screw. And then you're gonna twist it in as tight as you want it in there, and then there. And then you're going to get whatever you're using at that time, whether it's the elastic band or the twine or whatever else you may have. Put it through that hole in there. Now, I have found that you don't necessarily need to do the heat gun. You can just push it in there and twist, but my thinking behind it is that in using the heat gun, when you are heating the metal up and pushing it in and then twisting, with the metal being hot, it will also help bind the bead to the metal, because you want it to stay in there. You don't want it just to slide out one day or whatever from direct sunlight. I feel in my mind with the heat being put on there, it's helping the metal, the little piece of metal, to bind to the beads, because they're plastic, so they're going to melt like they did here. You know, they're going to melt to the plastic. That's my thinking behind it. Who knows if that's accurate, but that is what I feel. So on to the next one. The next step is I have these smell proof bags, and you get your label. Thank you for watching. Please like down below and then hit subscribe if you want to be updated about new content.